Hello, medieval history students. Today we are starting a new project. We are going to talk about Islam and interconnectedness. So today I'm going to kick it off, give you a little overview of everything, and then you can get started on your first checkpoint, common language and interconnectedness. All right, so interconnectedness. What is it? So just by the word interconnectedness, what do you even think that means? Interconnectedness. Well, think, if you are connected to someone, right? You feel kind of like you belong. There's a sense of belonging. Inter is sort of interrelated with other people. So here I have a definition from dictionary.com. Interconnectedness, the state of being connected with each other. So that's what we're talking about. And we're going to talk about a place called Afroeurasia. And what is Afroeurasia? Is a term used to describe the land masses of Africa and Eurasia together with the adjacent islands as one continent. So we're talking about Africa, Europe, and Asia. Actually, let me get a map to show you. So here's a map of what we're talking about. I mean, this is huge. This is combining three continents together, right? So we have Africa, we have Europe, and we have Asia. So they call it Afroeurasia. So that's what they're talking about here with Afroeurasia. So we're talking about Islam, which is a religion, and the people that practice Islam are called Muslims. And so we're talking about this religion of Islam and how it connected people together throughout Afroeurasia. So that's the focus of this project. So you're going to look at the history of medieval Islamic empires, and you're going to look at interconnectedness in your own lives. So we're going to play something called Four Corners, and we can't do this in a traditional classroom because I would pose a question and you would stand in one of the corners of the room based on how you feel. And we can't really do that, but we're going to do it virtually. So here's the question that I'm going to give you. So 4 corners. Based on the following statement, there's just going to be one. Pick a corner of the room to stand in. So you're going to do this on Padlet. Once you are there, you can't discuss with other people, but in a way you can because you're going to put your discussion on Padlet. You're going to discuss why you picked that corner. So here it is. I feel really connected to my peers at school. Always, never, rarely, or often. And I'm going to go back to my lesson. So right here I have it. So you're going to click on this Padlet. Go to the corner to cast your vote by clicking a thumbs up or thumbs down. Then leave a comment on why you voted that way. I feel really connected to my peers at school. Is it always? If it is, you put a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? So are you at rarely, never, or often? So actually you don't need to put a thumbs down. You just go to the corner you feel. So if you feel really connected to peers at your school, you're going to check always. Or maybe you don't. You're going to put here, rarely. Okay? So you're going to go to where you feel, and then you're going to click this here, the comment section, and then you see down here, you can start typing. I don't know if you can see that real well, but you're going to start typing your comment, okay? All right, so that's what I want you to do for that first part. And let me go back to my slides. Where is it? Okay. All right. So why do you think it might be important to feel connected at school or in general? So think about that to yourselves. Why do you think it might be important to feel connected to other people? So, and how does this relate to history? Being interconnected, connected with other people. So that's our focus, medieval times and interconnectedness. The medieval period is characterized by the world becoming more interconnected. So people are starting to come together more, share ideas, trade, explore. Trade, exploration, even conflicts or wars helped expose and connect different parts of the world to one another. Remember, you touched on some of this already with the Silk Road. The spread of religion, expansion of empires, and the pursuit of knowledge and learning also contributed to these greater connections. One of the greatest examples of interconnectedness comes from the Islamic empires. So here's your major question of this project. How did the Muslim empires and institutions help different regions of Afroeurasia become more interconnected? So you're going to look specifically at what these Muslim empires did in the name of connecting people throughout Afroeurasia. And then the other essential question is, how can we become more interconnected? You're actually going to do a project on that. So here's the project outline. You're going to do a document-based inquiry on medieval Islamic empires and interconnectedness. You're going to do an examination and research of resources for making our school more connected. And then you're going to do a creation of a new student guide to help students feel more connected on campus. And then here are the cognitive skills that we will be using for this. This is how you're going to be assessed. And if we go in here, you can see, so there aren't as many checkpoints. And remember, you always have my checkpoint to do and a summit checkpoint every week. So you have 2 a week. But then here, there are only 2 final products. And one is that inquiry argument that we talked about, which is the major question of this whole project. That's why it's important to do the checkpoints, because that's where you're going to get the information for this. How did the Muslim empires and institutions help different regions of Afroeurasia become more interconnected? So you're going to do, basically you're writing an argumentative claim paragraph on this, okay? Same thing that you've been doing. You're going to have a strong claim, have 3 pieces of evidence to support your claim, and then explain your evidence. And then your other final product is going to be a new student guide, which we'll get more into as we get closer to it. But I just want to give you an overview now. I'll read this to you. You compile a guide that is designed to help build interconnectedness in our school, including recommendations, resources, and a brief explanation of historical connections between the recommendations you make and what you have learned in the inquiry portion of this project. So, but this is kind of neat. Like, you're looking at ways that we can build more connections through our own school. And that's why I start the project off with that Padlet about how connected do you feel here to others at your school. So I think this is a pretty neat project that we're starting. Now, for my lesson, I always give you a lesson to usually help you with a checkpoint. So this one, I have you looking more at this idea of the Muslim empires and, you know, how they bring people together. So this first one is a Duxter's article that you're going to read. And a lot of people don't know this, but there was a golden age that they call it in the Muslim world, where they really flourished in science and technology and, you know, so in learning. So I want you to read this short Duxter's article, and you're going to see there's a quiz there that you're going to take for the assessment. Then I have a short video. I want you to stop at the 3-minute mark, but it talks about this golden age of Islam, the period of history from the 8th to the 13th century where culture, trade, and learning flourished. So I want you to watch that. And then as you're doing it, take notes as you watch the video on the Golden Age of Islam, on the characteristics of the time period. In other words, what made it the Golden Age? What happened during this time? And then I have an explain question. And then I have that Duxter's quiz, which I showed you. It's down at the bottom. It's a 10-question quiz. And then for your elaborate piece, it's completing this checkpoint, common language and interconnectedness. And then you have your self-assessment. Don't forget to answer this question in the reflection, okay? All right, so that is what you're doing this week. We're kicking off a new project. So please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, you don't understand anything. I'm always here to help you. All right, you have a wonderful week.